This is the build. This build's coming out tomorrow. $1 million. We hit 1 million on just a normal, regular ass shot, dude. Yay! I love this build so much, dude. I would say about 500k for an average shot. 1 million again! Let's go! Oh, casual 1 million. That was a crit, which is why. Oh, 1 million again! Oh my god! This freaking build. Oh my goodness gracious. Flip it! Flip it! I'm using it in my video. $1 million again! I mean, if we're gonna keep hitting for 1 million damage, it's probably change our average up a little bit. Did we just hit that guy for 2 million? Did I just hit that guy for 2 million damage? Did someone clip that so I can play that back? I thought I saw 2 million damage on one shot. That was 819. Yo guys, what is up? Moxie here with another Borderlands 3 video, and today we are bringing back one of my personal favorite builds, renaming it from Chernobyl Amara to Amarageddon, which I think is the correct thing to do, and Amarageddon is a awesome name. Now this build was struggling on Mayhem 4 until we figured out some things and fixed it, and now it is incredible. This is going to be my most organized build, so we're going to have actual sections to the build, so hopefully you guys like that, and if you do, we'll have every other build like that from now on. And two other things. One, I adopted a little friend yesterday. This is my new adopted rescue puppy. Oh, he's so cute. I haven't come up with a name for him yet, so if you guys have any suggestions that are serious, let me know. And the other thing is we are doing a giveaway for a code for Borderlands 3 or the Outer Worlds, thanks to a generous donation from a member of my Discord, Hater. Shout out to him. So if you're interested in getting a code for a free download of the Borderlands 3 or the Outer Worlds, you get to pick if you win. Just leave a comment and be subscribed, and I'll be picking the winners at the end of the week. With that, let's get right into the video. Alright guys, let's go over the general overview of the build and some of the mechanics that are happening here. Now, this build was struggling on Mayhem 4. I was struggling with it, and that's because I hasn't changed anything, and also because of something very important that I didn't realize was a big part of this build, and it really does play a big role in the damage that this build can put out, and that is overkill. Overkill was disabled. It did not work up until the recent patch that enabled Guardian ranks. Overkill is going to give us excess damage from a kill is added to your next shot. Now this build is, it ramps up. In damage, it ramps up very quickly. Your first enemy that you shoot, you'll probably one-shot, and then after that, your overkill damage will just keep ramping up until you're hitting for like absurd amounts of damage, which is a part of the reason why this build was struggling before, and now it's amazing. If you've seen the Chernobyl Mara build, you know this gun and this shield, the combination of the two hasn't changed. We are using a Shrieking Devil with radiation damage. This is a dedicated drop from the Blinding Banshee. It's a blue unique shotgun. You could go out and farm for this. It's a difficult farm. My first one took me about 6 hours of farming to get, and then after that got like a bunch. But it is a farm. The other shield we're using is the red suit. The red suit is going to give us radiation resistance. The Shrieking Devil is a weapon that shoots in a cone, basically. It shoots in a big ball. So you see this ring, but the damage is this whole ball. So it shoots above us, below us, behind us, and it hits us. We are in this ball, we take damage, and so the only way to not die is to be radiation immune. Now, as you can see here, there is a projectile that shoots out. And so this gun can crit. It's really hard to get a consistent crit with it. But when it does happen, as you saw, it hits for about 1 million damage easily, which is crazy because this is a blue shotgun. But yeah, if we're not radiation immune, if we're using something like shock, we'll basically kill ourselves. Yeah, because we do so much damage that you need the radiation immunity. And another overall thing is we cannot be doing any other damage besides radiation damage. If you are doing fire damage, if you are doing corrosive damage, shock, cryo, anything, if you are doing anything besides radiation damage, you will die. Simple as that. This is a pure radiation build. And with that, let's get into the skill tree. So this is our skill tree. We're going to start with the red tree. And just so you understand why I'm allocating points where, we are using the driver class mod with mindfulness. So Anima is going to allow our dots to stay on us for longer. Now, with the driver class mod, we are not able to dot ourselves with radiation by phase grasping, because radiation isn't a skill of hers. There's no radiation augment yet. So the only dot that we can inflict with our action skill is radiation, which is unfortunate. But we have ways around that. So we're going into Anima to give us increased status effect and increased damage. With this, our status effect damage on this build, our damage over time is absurd. This 744 radiation damage per second on our shield hits for about like 30k damage a tick because of how powerful we're boosting our radiation damage. So Anima is great for that, and we're using Violent Tapestry with that because our only way of inflicting a dot on ourselves is currently through our Shrieking Devil. So 5 points of Violent Tapestry is going to help us proc that elemental effect dot on us, and Anima is going to keep it on us. So super important there. Tempest is just going to boost the elemental damage of radiation even further. Wildfire here is going to give that dot and our elemental effect a spread chance. Now, with Wildfire, in conjunction with Catharsis, we are going to be able to blow up enemies, which they already do from radiation and they already spread. And so with Catharsis, along with Wildfire, when we explode an enemy with radiation, any enemy in the nearby vicinity is just going to get radiated and everything will start getting status effects and dying. It honestly, like, this is nice, but it doesn't matter because everything's also going to be getting one shot. We didn't go Dread here just because The way I play this is I don't actually grasp enemies. In the old Chernobyl Amara build, we were using Dread and we were using Samsara. We don't need that anymore because we're going to be hitting so hard that we actually won't ever die. We could face tank anything you want. This build has run the takedown. We beat M4 solo takedown with this build. Radiation does less damage to armored enemies. It does 50% less damage. So for the armored enemies, we switch to corrosive weapons. But for the shields on the Valkyries, the shields on Wotan, this build nukes their shields. So that's cool. And all the Malawan soldiers in between the different boss fights, this build also just nukes. Next, so we're going deep well for more magazine size. Catharsis, which is going to stack damage explosions on top of the enemies. In 5 out of 5 into sustainment. Sustainment is going to be our healing. Now we hit for so hard and we're doing self-damage that damage is actually healing us. Let's see if I can hurt ourselves a little bit here. Alright. So, here is our self-healing. Full health. Full health. We obviously still have a fire dot on us, but our gun is going to full heal us. It's full healing off of us, and it's also full healing off of enemies. So because of that, we never die, and we do a stupid amount of damage. Now we cannot go forceful expression, and we cannot go infusion, because once again, if you go into infusion or if you go into forceful expression, you will just straight up kill yourself. Unfortunate, I know, but you can't take these because we don't have a radiation skill tree yet. When we do have a radiation skill tree, this build is going to pop off, because hopefully we do get one. But for now, we can't. Violent Tapestry is, as I said, amazing for applying the dot to ourselves and to enemies. And then here, so we're going into personal space for the bonus damage. Based on how close we are to a target, this skill is huge for this, because this gun doesn't have a very long range. Now, the longer you hold down this weapon, the further it shoots out, the bigger the blast radius, and the more damage it will do. So if you're looking for that big boy damage and just want to blow up everything, make sure you hold down the weapon. For bosses, if you're fighting like Troy or Tyrene or whoever you want to fight with this, I just like spamming it like this just to put out the most damage. But to one-shot like any enemy that you see fit, you can use this. Hitting for like 680, 500k. Sorry, I got distracted. I blew up all the skags. So to finish off the skill tree, we're going 3 out of 3 into personal space. Root to Rise for more health, because we're full healing every time we shoot. Arms Deal is going to give us increased splash damage. This weapon does splash damage, and so that's great, and gives us more resistances. The Helping Hands is going to make us take so much, 48% less damage. 48% damage reduction is crazy, and adds to the tankiness of this build. And then lastly, you know what it is, 6 out of 3 into Mindfulness for that movement speed bonus, that when we are moving at full speed, we are going to be doing 4 times the amount of damage. This build, I wouldn't change anything. It really, really trucks every single enemy that we encounter, and it's so much fun to use. And in terms of like augments and action skills, I just have Ties That Bind, Allure with corrosive damage. Now, I like using corrosive because if we inflict a fire dot to ourselves, we could hurt our health. If we inflict a shock dot, we're going to hurt our shields. So for me, corrosive works the best for this. And with that, let's get into the weapons and anointments that we can be using for this build and the rest of the gear. So the 2 essential pieces of gear for this build are the red suit, the Shrieking Devil, and a Spiritual Driver class mod. Before we were using a Phase Zerker with this build, Phase Zerker is still great with this, but it's better with the spiritual driver. So spiritual driver, red suit, and shrieking devil. With that, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. If you want to be doing the absolute most damage, the things you should be looking for and the anointments you should be looking for, we'll go over in a second. So I believe that the best thing for the Shrieking Devil would be 125% increased splash damage. The best thing for red suit here would be bonus radiation damage. Right now, I have bonus radiation damage on my grenade. However, if I had the red suit with bonus radiation damage, I could use a grenade that had like on action skill N gain plus 25% weapon damage, which is what ideally I would be using. Right now I don't have that, so I'm using a grenade with radiation damage. Now you cannot put another bonus damage on here. You can only be doing bonus radiation damage, otherwise you will kill yourself. I am using an elemental projector splatter gun. In none of those clips was I sliding, so I could have had 50% more damage, which is crazy. Splatter gun is not important. This is just my best rolled elemental projector that I have, which is going to give me magazine size, movement speed, and shotgun damage, all things that work really well with this build. However, if you're looking for perfect stuff, I would probably be using an elemental projector victory rush, because the movement speed and damage are both going to increase our damage. And then rolls would be similar things to this with magazine size, movement speed, and shotgun damage. If you can get bonus radiation damage, that would also be really, really great. And in terms of grenades, it doesn't really matter. If you could get an It's Piss with on action skill end, or on grenade throw, gain plus 25% damage, with a red suit that had plus 50% radiation, you'd be absolutely cooking things. And then, yeah, this is the Shrieking Devil. I have had a lot of them drop for me. The hazardous Shrieking Devil so far is the one that I've seen with the highest base damage. Now this weapon has great base damage and a really crazy dot, which is what makes it so good for this build, and the fact that it's self-damaging allows us to heal off of it, damage enemies, inflict dots, and nuke groups of enemies. It's amazing and one of the most unique weapons in the game, which is why I'm so happy that we've made such a great build around it. In terms of other weapons that you could use, it doesn't really matter. If you want to stick with the theme of Amarageddon and radiation damage included in the save file, I have a Rowan's Call with bonus incendiary damage. That's radiation. I have a Trevinator with, this is what I'd be looking for. This is radiation damage Trevinator with splash damage increased by 125 per short time. This would be awesome on the Shrieking Devil. And then we have a Pestilence. Now the Pestilence is a super cool pistol with this build, because the Pestilence, where is my Pestilence? Basically guarantees a dot on ourselves, which is nice to have. So when it's done shooting, it dots us. So if you're going to be using this for boss fight, you could do something like that and then nuke everything with this. Another option would be to have a radiation grenade that you could throw down. I don't have one at the moment, so radiation grenade would also be a great way to proc damage onto yourself. And yeah, that was the build. The save file will be in my Discord under my PC. Let's quickly run and show you guys how to get the Shrieking Devil if you don't already know. And yeah, let's just wrap it up real quick. So to get the Shrieking Devil, you guys are going to want to come here to Desolation's Edge on Necrotafeo, and we are farming the Blinding Banshee, which is a not a rare spawn, is a crew challenge of the Legendary Hunt to kill. Now, before we go kill this thing, one thing that I need to say, because I know you guys are going to ask me about it, yes, this build does work with a Transformer and the Shrieking Devil. With Shock, it works quite nicely, actually. I do have a build out on this. It was called Flame of the Firehawk. It did not get as much attention as the Chernobyl Amara build. And if we're using fire or shock damage, we can get into Forceful Expression, which is really nice, and we get bonus damage from Tempest, which is really nice. Yes, the shock version does work well. However, there is currently a bug happening right now that with this 50% bonus shock damage on our grenade, this is fine, but sometimes it'll do self-damage when we shoot this thing. Let's see if we can get it to do it.
Armed and dangerous.
There we go. So, I don't know why that's happening, but when we have overkill damage, and we're chaining overkill damage, and we shoot that much damage, that'll insta-kill us. I was killing myself when you're mobbing with this. If you're using the shock version, you will kill yourself more often than not because of this random glitch where it's just bypassing the shield. I don't know why that's happening. I hope that gets fixed so that we can use the shock version, because the shock version is also really cool. But at the moment, the radiation version is not doing that, and the shock version is. I don't know if it has something to do with the transformer or what, but that's just what's happening. So this is the blinding banshee. You're just gonna want to kill this thing, and it has a chance of dropping this gun. We didn't get one, but this is the place to come get one. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something new. This will be my last non-DLC video. After the DLC is dropping tomorrow, I'm going to be covering the crap out of that. So if you guys want to see the new builds, new in-depths with all of the weapons, all of the class mods, make sure to subscribe for new content. I just wanted to get this build up before the DLC drops. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Peace!